And we used to own the data, but the public cloud came and internet and leaks and stuff, and we no longer own our data anymore. And whoever has the best, the more autonomous and the strongest AI will take over the world. Enable security and make sure you have a recovery strategy for anything that matters to you. Like if you have the multi-factor authentication, you should have it. Even if it's painful, you should have it. And we have sadly to go through the marketing yes, and that we should think before we accept everything.
You're listening to the Ransomware Rewind, where we break down the latest cyber threats, data breaches, and security solutions that matter to you and your business. Stay secure. Stay informed. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Ransomware Rewind. Today, I'm honored to have our guest, Alexandre Blanc of Alexandre Blanc Consulting, a strategic cybersecurity advisor and a consultant with deep experience in incident response, dark web investigations, and helping organizations from luxury brands to governments with their cybersecurity stance, including privacy, and helping them navigate the toughest cyber challenges that they face today in this AI ransomware-enabled world. He's a recognized voice in the cyber community and a leader at InfoSure. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was long, but that's okay. And thank you for having me. I'm always happy to speak and share awareness and discuss topics. So that's the whole point.
Awesome. Let's jump right in. There's been this massive breach of 184 million credentials through Google, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, and they're just sitting online unprotected. How was this part of this public cloud, or how does the public cloud relate to this?
Well, that's touching my favorite topic there, data protection and the cloud environment. Well, one of the main key we can, when we see a big breach like that touch so many organizations, this is triggering one keyword right now. It's SSO, like single sign-on. And, it's been there for a long time. And basically, the issue is like SSO came as a great way to implement audit and visibility on the security authentication of users, and bringing one credential package per user, allowing to connect on many services. But the main issue with that is that you get a single key for so many services, which make the leak of credential a big burden to handle, because it's granting the attacker, whoever grabbed them, access to so many services that you don't even remember, Well, like the key things from a victim standpoint, you got all that credentials out. And, and let's say you have like Microsoft credential or Facebook credential out. It's easy to remember that was the Facebook credential. But if you use that feature like login with Facebook or login with Google on third-party services, it's way more difficult for a user to realize the potential impact of such leak. So aside of the incident himself, and if people know me, like, it must have been the cloud leaking once again. And, I don't know the root cause investigation and the result about it, but let me bet on some improper security control in place or lazy security control on an object storage or something like that. Usual culprit. And sometimes also we get a lot of info stealers running around, and we cannot rule out that things. If people don't know, like malware running on the computers, which only goal is to steal all the stored credential, usually in the browser. And a lot of people use Chrome. And Chrome is an easy target for attackers on that. So that's bringing so many things, So many identities outside. And when I see that, and I see the way the technology is growing and how digital transformation is being embraced by organization and government, and that our life rely on our digital identity, and that we see that all these digital identities leaked at once, I'm like, hell, I hope that we get some fail-safe mechanism to authenticate people, because there are so many credentials floating around that it will not be long before we cannot trust the online digital identity or authentication for verifying who is who. That would be my take on that, like a quick stuff.
So what can we do as consumers and as businesses to detach from the, besides like not storing our stuff in Chrome, and using like password managers? I don't know if you recommend a certain password manager, but what other things can we do from keeping our data out of there?
Well, the first thing is, I think as individual, as a person, we have to realize that we are now, due to the technological landscape, we are all a risk manager. You want it or not, you are a risk manager. You own your risks. That means that any account that you have online, you are the administrator of yourself. And you know, you think like you create an account on Microsoft, on Facebook, or anything, a shop online, Amazon, and you think that the service is handling you, but it's not. This is not the case. You are the admin of you, because if your account gets abused, you are going to be the victim. You are going to be the one in trouble. You're going to be the one to be able to fight to recover it and stuff like that. So, key aspect: understand that risk and ideally reduce your digital footprint. Like the less account you have, the less application, the less fancy stuff you have connected, the less risk you take. Doesn't mean that we live in the woods, you know, you just have to pick your fight. And for the one that you decide to use, you should make sure that you apply the best practices. So whatever the solution and the platform allows you to use, you should. Like if you have the multi-factor authentication, you should have it. Even if it's painful, you should have it. And also, as an individual, you should know that, let's say you have a TOTP, you scan a QR code, you get a code generation, and that's your 2FA. If you decide to go this way, you should have that on 2 devices. Because if you go to the swimming pool and you forget your phone in your pocket, or it goes in the water, or your phone is stolen, like all these 2FA tokens are going to be gone as well, and you will be locked out of all your accounts. So that's like the balance to have. You must have a backup plan. And yeah, so key aspect. Enable security and make sure you have a recovery strategy for anything that matters to you. Because most of the time, like the I forgot my password, receive an email to reset the password, is not going to work if you have the multi-factor authentication on or any kind of advanced security. The more advanced security stuff that we see online now is called the passkey. It's basically, passwordless. You do not have a password. This is encrypted with a cipher. You get a private key and public key. This is usually managed either in a password manager or on a device. And then you log in. This is just the device that is the key. You could have a physical one, like a Fido key, whatever. And that's the most secure one because it's encrypted. And you cannot, make a fake out of that. But the issue is, like, if you do not have access to your key, like your key card, you need a backup plan to access the accounts. And this is where people keep recovery email and stuff like that. And usually the attacker love it because they will use the recovery approach. And therefore, the security and safety is like as low as the lowest option you have. Yep.
Right. Yeah. And if you have your backup keys, they sometimes have those 10-word backup keys. You don't want to keep those on your platform or on your computer. You want those, printed out in a lockbox or somewhere safe.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to think about. What are some practical steps that people can take or businesses can take to tighten up those weak spots?
Well, I think over time, we kind of, as we grow, as the teens now, and they grow and they have more and more accounts, and they forget about the account they have. And so we do as well. And the idea is to keep an idea of where and what account you have. So the password manager is a great way to know what kind of account you had. Another option is to subscribe to Credential leaks information, like have I been pound. You can just put your email and subscribe to a notification about breach. You could have dark web monitoring option as well, search for any credential. And the fun fact is that because I was doing dark web investigation as well in my job, I do that from time to time as well. Usually this is when looking for the digital footprint of an organization and looking for a way to attack them or find weakness in their posture or information that would allow me to get in and that would enable access to a system or through something they forgot. Like in case of people, these are credentials that they actually forgot on service they no longer use, but they are still active and they could in a way escalate. And that's one thing. For organization, sometimes what we found is a good old server that no one dared to disconnect in case it breaks something. And that thing is highly vulnerable. And that thing is usually connected to the public side, to the private side. It's a great way in for any attacker that want exploit it and get lateral movement into the organization and use that as a starting point. So like knowing your digital footprint, your digital trail, that's one thing. And this is quite different for an organization, an enterprise, or an individual. Individual, it's about your own account, credential, and the information you leave around that would allow to manipulate you. And usually you're a lower target because you cannot make much money out of an individual, except if you are in a critical position for the attacker. Let's say you are the CEO of a company, or you are, I don't know, working in insurance and someone has a claim and it's like big amount stuff and you are the one able to make the decision. Then you may become the target because gaining access to your account or being able to pressure you is granting some kind of access, and then it's worth looking into you. So, and that's people, people growing in companies, taking more and more responsibilities. They have the duty to make sure that their personal stuff is as safe as their responsibility grow. That's something we don't think about, the risk posture of people. If you start as an employee at tech support and you grow as an administrator and then you get on the board, you become an advisor, then you better manage and know a lot about your posture, because you are now a big target for whatever happened. And and to understand that, you have to understand the motivation of the attackers. It's either financial or strategical, economical. Usually we have the East against the West, or Chinese who like to pull information, or sometimes it's somebody closer. And like something's called like OSINT, open source intelligence, when you want to do some reconnaissance phase about people and you gather all the information about them. It's amazing how much you can collect about people and sometimes lead to actually identity theft. One story, that people don't realize, I'm based in Quebec in Canada, and not long ago, I think a year and a half ago, they didn't save on the driver license the picture of you in the database. That means that if you wanted to recover the identity or get the driver license of someone else, you need to have 2 invoices of utilities, like phone and electricity, okay? And then you would go...
That's it?
Yeah, and you will go to the police, say, I lost my wallet, I'm going to place a claim, I'm that person, I have the invoice, and that's me. So then you get the claim. And with that claim, you then go to the equivalent to DMV, it's the SAC in Quebec, and SAAQ. And you would go there and say, hey, I want a new driver license because my wallet got stolen and stuff like that. And they would take a new picture of you and make a new license because you had the document, and they didn't have any way to check that you are not you.
Wow.
Because they have and so that's that easy. It was that easy. Thankfully, now they posted, they fixed the stuff. The photo remain in the system when it works. And if you want to go and ask for a new license and the face doesn't match, it's gonna raise a flag. Hopefully, we always hope that the employee behind the desk is well awake and is gonna catch the thing. But and that's as simple as that. Because once someone has a driver license with your name on it, then they can go in any bank or financial institution and open an account under your name. And if you had a good credit score, then they can apply for anything, buy a car. That's the most cheapest and easier way that criminals make money out of identity theft. They buy cars and they just leave the loan running. They sell the car and disappear. And then people get someone coming at their door saying, hey, you did buy a car, you didn't pay. But you didn't buy the car. Someone did it with your identity. That's very easy to do. So that's, I did drill down from the information and digital footprint that you have and from the cloud. So if we go back in the sky and go to the cloud and the magnificent public cloud with all that public information, and people say, oh, it's not true, it's not public. Well, you'd better read the terms and conditions under which you run your stuff. You know what? One key thing is like a lot of people run on AWS for the cloud stuff, all right? And in the AWS term and condition, when you run a service, it's mandatory that in your own application, in your own online service, anything you provide to a third party, that you disclose the exact terms and conditions that you are bound to with Amazon. It's written. You have to transfer that stuff to the end user because you are tied to it, so it's applicable to them. Well, man, there are not many that do that. So, and the thing is, because lately we speak a lot about data location, who's handling the data, where is the data located? And these service providers specify that in regard to be able to provide the service and stuff like that, we reserve the right to move the data wherever we need to be able to serve you and provide the service. But when you have regulation and governance restrictions, and your data should not move in another country or any condition like that, then you are not able to use a third-party solution in the public cloud, because otherwise you need a disclaimer about where is the data going to be able to comply with the governance requirements. So again, that's such a complex thing right now. And on top of that, the cherry on the sundae is the AI stuff. I'm not gonna go too far on AI, but it's just that machine. It's building data lake by extracting any public information, and there is the overall guidance for data to be acceptable in the data set to build an AI model as fair use in the US at least. If it's fair use, then you can actually build your AI model and stuff like that. The thing is, if your data is left insecure in the public cloud and exposed, then it's only fair use for an AI company to mine it and use it, because it was left public. So you let it public, it's public. You see the point? And that's where we are seeing growing threats of massive data collection that will allow automated hacking, phishing, and stuff. We already see that in people say hacker and criminal use AI to build a very nice phishing or phishing, but that's not what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about the data collection that is being built. And when we learn how to dig into the data and build very, very real case, and not like the fake case that some lawyers use in court, if you see like so many people use ChatGPT to use as a reference, it was all made up and fake. I'm speaking about using big data to use the collected data, make a lot of correlation, and basically rebuild a case, frame anyone you like. You have an enemy, or you have a challenger, or you have the CEO of another company you don't like. You already have today enough information about them to build a case about anything. And AI will bring automation about that, because it's great at handling data. So, point is, back to the public cloud. That's my point. You need to be able to protect and decide who access your data. And because data right now is the core of identity, is the core of the root of trust. And you see government, Canada, US, everywhere, they want to switch to digital identity, digital driver license. When I see that in the news, I'm freaking out, because we are not ready for that. Technically it works. I mean, we can have a private key that makes sure that the integrity of the license is good. We have a certificate. It's a true thing. But the point is that we cannot protect the information that allows to build that. And we will have some very realistic fake identities floating around that we have no way to rule out and control. So it will be putting crime on steroids. So sadly, I think we should slow down a little bit and think before we actually do.
Right.
So that would, yeah.
I was listening to a YouTube video. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was talking about privacy in relation to location services, and how these aggregators can take all this public information and basically identify you, and and law enforcement and other companies that have subscription to this information can know like where you were at a certain time. And I even heard that there was a biker that was accused of a crime because he was at a certain place where the crime took place when he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I saw this one, and I think that one triggered the lawsuit against Google, where they were claiming that the Android mobile phone system was not tracking people while it was actually doing it. And there was a major lawsuit against that. And when you see this, again, it's fueling my anti-public cloud thing. Google is providing GCP, public cloud infrastructure that you can rent. So if the same company tells you, oh no, we don't collect data, and they get caught and they actually logged every single move of yours, man, what is happening with your data? You're going to trust them when they say, no, we don't mine your data for our own benefit. We wouldn't do that. But at the same time, look, your Gmail mailbox is getting the benefit from AI because all your data are super classification. We can actually even know the schedule that's coming for you. We know we did analyze all the behavior. You like that. And we can serve you amazing ads that you didn't know you needed that product, but you're going to need it. So they do analyze it.
Right.
And
we're all going to get ads for phone Faraday cages after this.
Yes. Well, you have a service. It comes with risks. You have to be aware of the risk to decide if you are willing to give up on that and use the service instead. I mean, I have a mobile phone. I know it's striking me. I obviously make sure that I don't put any sensitive information on it or anything that I would not want to be made public. But that's a risk thing. And as long as it's the government, and you are not a target of the government, although these days we have to be careful about what's going on everywhere.
Unless you're a part of the trucking association.
Yeah.
Or something like that, where it could be weaponized against you just from, giving money to the trucking association or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we have to be careful about that. It's serving us. It's very convenient. But again, what's the price to pay? And most people are like, yeah, we are fine.
You got nothing to hide.
Yeah, nothing to hide. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, well, you can see the evolution of AI. More and more decision-making process is being given to AI with automation. And I can tell you because one of the example is that I've been banned on LinkedIn by what they claim AI because one of my posts was rated as leading to a malware or something like that. And that's funny because it was a nice example about the total loss of control on a process where, I've been LinkedIn top voice in 2020. So LinkedIn knows me. They have my address. I've been also a customer of them. I have all the goodies. They sent me at my home. They sent me all the hoodie with LinkedIn stuff. So they know I'm real. It's like, it's me. They invited me in California. I could not go, but they invited me. And so the guy, but yet it didn't stop the AI for banning my account, kicking me out. And I was out of the system. And when this is happening on LinkedIn, you do not have access to support, anything, nothing, no more contacts. You just, no information, no way to get out of this. So thankfully on my end, because I had a lot of human connections, which humans know me, and they did start a lot of, publication, reach out to people, reach out to LinkedIn team and stuff like that. So that was one case. It was really stressful. I was disconnected for like 12 days. And that was painful because half of my business rely on LinkedIn. Anyway, so that's the example of technology taking over control where we have no fail-safe possibility. And I think that as a society, as humans, aside of being aware of the risk of privacy and security, we need to make sure and advocate for fail-safe mechanism. Like your identity, you should keep a passport, or an identity, a paper-based, even if it has a chip inside, or I don't care, something physical that you have with you that is actually allowing you to prove who you are and can help you recover that identity if you don't have it. In the digital world, we should have ways to reach and raise a flag because I see more and more, everything is being digital transformed, and when this is happening, I don't know about you, but if ever you have to call your ISP because your internet goes down and you enter with level 1 support, that's the most painful thing, Like, did you unplug your modem? Did you have power on it? So you have to dumb down. That's crazy, even if you work in the field. And that's so painful. So the issue is that the digital transformation, everything, is taking us humans down to the level 1 support of anything. Anything that is digitally transformed, we will have to face the level 1 support. And we do not exist as a human or as anything we are. And that's the risk I see, because when the machine works, it's great. You have remote access, remote management. But when it starts to mess, oh man, it's painful. Because you can scream all you want, like the system is rejecting you. So you're powerless, and you just, by chance, if you have the contact of people you used to speak to that are still in the system, they can raise flag, send a ticket to support question or anything. But yeah, that's one of the key.
And those 12 days that you were banned from the platform, how did that feel?
Oh man, it's terrible, because we used to know people by their LinkedIn profile picture. And many of them, I did even conference with them, but I didn't meet them in real life. Like, I did meet some of them, but out of, I don't know, a few thousand people, I didn't meet all of them. Even if I did in conference, going to whatever cybersecurity show or speaking at events, you don't remember, you don't bound personally. Your brain cannot accommodate so many people. So it's all relying on LinkedIn, and I was not taking backups back then because I was totally relying on the system. Say, it's LinkedIn, it's going to be there. If I need to reach to someone, I will find him. And it turns out that when you are blocked out and you didn't take any backup of your account, you don't have any contact at all. And the worst is that when you disappear from the system, the other ones do not realize it. Because the algorithm, the feed, the information is a continuous thing. You have constant news, is a continuous new catastrophic stuff, continuous thing.
The never-ending news feed, yeah.
Yeah. And if something disappears from it, you don't notice. I mean, there is one guy that disappeared on LinkedIn. I was used to discuss. It took me a year to realize, where is that guy? And today I did some investigation, search about him, contact ex-coworkers. I could not find him. So I think he passed away. But there is no way to know, and that's the sad thing. So with all that tech, we should make sure that the tech serve the humans, and the humans have a way and a fail-safe approach to keep control over things. Same thing with connected cars, because it's all about connecting. It's all about losing control in a way. You got some extra.
We don't like those here in California.
Yeah. Oh boy,
the rioters attacked the Wemo cars first.
Yeah, I don't like destruction of public good or anything, but I don't like the idea of having robot car. Well, if you have a handicap or you need some service and you have the ability to use it, that's fine. But if you decide that you do not want it, you should have the choice. The key is leaving the options for humans to decide whether or not they want the connected stuff, if they want to give away control or not. Because in the end, this is stuff that you own. Well, you used to own. And we used to own the data, but the public cloud came, and internet and leaks and stuff, and we no longer own our data anymore. Actually, if you think about all the data brokers and all the big tech data accumulation, they have more data about you or me than we have about ourselves. Because we forget stuff, we lost a backup, we had an old laptop that we threw away, and we wiped the disk and forgot to take these pictures. But them, they have it. and in the end, they have no more about our everything. And also because the technology is amazing, the psychological profiling of a user, the the reaction, if you had to really know what's in the mind of someone, and you had access to one of the social media, you will pull out all the comments of that person in line, and that will give you hell of a straight idea of what are the levers, what the person like, what make the person react, what are the psychological levers that make him react more or less. And you will have a full power by giving this user the data you want to trigger reaction. So that's actually being used. But it's just, and us as users, we do not have the ability because the command that we put disappear over time, we do not see them, and we do not have a way to pull all of them or all of them for another user. So that's the kind of power that is granted to the media. And what happened is, and I'm falling back to the decision-making process of a human, but it's because this is all tied together. How do we decide, or how do we take decision as human? We take decision based on information that we get. We learn that something is right, we learn that something is wrong, we like to do something, or we are taught to like something. And this is actually driving our decision in the future, So when you control the information that the person receive and you know exactly what make them react, you can actually control the behavior. The decision-making process is under control. Because to be honest, who is doing due diligence or fact-checking the information that you get? Of course, if you look at X or Twitter, you know this is all crap. And you know that anything you look at that is about burning your brain and triggering addiction about scandalous thing and then turning you into a zombie of information and driving you nuts. And you are so irritated that you are like, ah! like the
Right.
barking dog of internet.
Anything to get that engagement, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
That's what the algorithm's made to do, is get you to engage. And if that means pissing you off or showing you things that you hate, then they're going to put that in front of you.
correct. So we have to be smart and know about it. So if you feel that you are being, you know, I know they're stressed about something, you have to raise a warning and say, oh, no. They're tricking me. This is crap. You know, like cut the feed. They're like, this is not real information. Let me do my due diligence. Let me do my fact checking on my end. Let me focus on reliable sources as we can find them, and finding reliable sources without bias is a challenge these days. We all, you know, we are human made of bias. But yeah, it's always, we have to cool down, think twice, and wonder why we see that information, if it's relevant, and sort out the mess, because we are quickly down into that. Is it tied to cybersecurity? It is, because that's, you know, that's what's used in social engineering. If I know about your behavior, if I know your stress, if I know about your life event, I'm going to be able to use that against you. If I know you just been married or you are going to be married, oh man, I can just have some very nice targeted emails about anything. If I know where this is happening or who you are dealing with, I can send fake invoice, I can hijack the payment. It's very easy because the brain is focused on one task, which is sometimes stressful. And so it's easy for an attacker or anyone who wants to have anything from you to use that information. This is why
Right, and
privacy
now they're
matters.
using oh, sorry. Now
Go
they're
ahead.
using AI to do this, right? Like to do the
Correct. Yeah, it's AI is basically accelerating the attacks. It's like full automation. If it's from a technical standpoint, like finding vulnerabilities and building exploit and giving access. Before AI, you know, speaking about cybersecurity and vulnerabilities, there was a tool that came out. It was called, you know, there is Metasploit, which comes with all the vulnerability. You can test and load and hack stuff with that. And came later on, before AI, something called Autosploit. Autosploit is a tool that was actually using in a sequential manner all the exploit against a target. And you basically gave a target and tell to the script, give me a shell. And then you wait. And the machine does it all. That was already before AI. Now with AI, it can go very, very further in, you know, recognition, creating pattern, driving you, guiding you through. It could even teach you how to social engineer someone. You could actually feed the interaction you have with someone and get AI to optimize the answer word to get to your goal. Or you can let AI do it all for you as well.
Okay, I always ask this question. You know, in the next 20 years with AI, are we going to get Star Trek or Skynet?
Both. Both of them. Actually, we already have, in a way, each of them in a certain way. And the question is, I mean, we need awareness and we need people to find proper balance and not being enslaved into the tech stuff. Because the risk is that our only feed, our only reliance on learning, on information, on human relationship is to be controlled by the machines, by AI, by systems, and not being true or free, as in freedom of thinking and, you know, having critical thinking. That's something that we must develop and feed. I did read an interesting actually story. It was saying that the Gen Z was better at spotting AI created deep fakes than we are, like older people. Older, I mean like 40, 50-year-old.
I
Because
know
we
we're old
tend,
now, huh?
yeah, it's like, yeah. And
It
because,
happened so fast. I don't know what happened.
yeah, I don't know, like time is running crazy. This is why we need to slow down as well. The study was showing that basically because we grew with tech, it was a magical revolution for us. I mean, we knew times before it did exist, before mobile phone were things, and before information, before internet, we knew that. So it was a huge, crazy innovation for us as humans. So, and it brought so much good things as well. I mean, it did free us from so many things. So we tend to think, unless you are a bit paranoid like me, we tend to think that technology will save us from everything. That's the spirit when you see OpenAI, like it's gonna solve all the sickness, it's gonna find new energy, it's gonna. All right, you are really like us, like you grew, you think about the magic, stuff like that. The thing is, it's a tool, and it will help some people to achieve things, but by itself, it's not magical. It will not, and it should not, because we live on a planet as humans. We should not serve a system. And if that system is that smart, and people are searching a lot for that, I don't know, there was a nice investigation as well. I saw online documentary. It was in French. They were saying that we will not stop the development of AI, the autonomous AI, because if America do not do it, or the West side, then the Chinese and the Asiatic side will do. And whoever has the best, the more autonomous and the strongest AI will take over the world. And that's interesting because it's like we're doomed anyway. We won't stop out of fear that someone else does it. If we do something wrong, we better do it ourselves. And I'm like, I hope that in the meantime, we will use what we know and learn about tech to teach our new generation how to be aware of it and how to handle it. I'm not yet fully in Terminator 2 movie, when they teach the kiddos how to resist the machines, but it's kind of getting there,
Right. We have to use tarps to get away from the thermal imaging from the drones and all sorts of things like that. And, while you were talking, I was thinking about Star Trek too. And I think in Star Trek Discovery, we did fight the machines too. So either way, we're going to fight the AI machines, and it's almost inevitable that we'll have some kind of robot war in the future. Unfortunately,
I mean, it's already taking place. Like the drones took over the human pilot. I mean, you don't go. I mean, when I speak about drones, this is like the autonomous planes. Now you see in Ukraine, they use like the small drones with explosive that dismiss anything that because they can stop you. So the attack they did in Russia, and like a swarm of drones with explosive. Like there is no way you stop that stuff. Well, some US companies like to provide some like crazy electromagnetic pulse stuff that pull them down. So that's interesting. I would like to have one actually. If you listen and you want a tester, I'm gonna take it at home and I will keep it in my garage. So if there is a swarm of drone attack,
EMP.
Yeah, we keep it, in the sky, and poof, and everything out like down.
Right. Well, but this book, Red Rising. Have you heard of this book? They
no.
have. It's a popular book. I think it's probably like science fiction for older teens, but I love that stuff. And the people, the resistance use these mini EMPs. So they use the EMPs, and it disables all the new tech, the armor. And it takes away the advantage of like the, the empire, right? And then they have like their backup, like regular guns that they can fight with. But then, they adapt and everything. So it's a constant cat and mouse game, like anything.
Yeah, and so we are heading there. And the key is we have to bring enough awareness as a community, as people, as humans, so as we can help taking the good decision. We cannot run away from the threat because another adversary is going to build that stuff. But by thinking about how do we defend, we can actually have some defense ourselves too. That's the idea. Because
as a content generator, I don't like the word influencer, because all the bad connotations, but like as a content creator on LinkedIn and someone that is followed by hundreds of thousands of people. What do you feel like I make some content. I'm not, of course, not like as big as you, but what do you think our responsibility is as content creators in order to educate the public?
Well, we all have to raise awareness about the risks. we have sadly to go through the marketing, as a BS, the promises that are actually lying a little bit or deceiving into building fake trust. Because obviously companies, government like and want trust to get and follow the decisions. But we need, as tech-aware people, as risk managers, we need to bring the majority, whoever want to know, that there are risks and that we should think before we accept everything and make sure that this is well understood. Then as communities, as countries, as cities, depending of the scope of wherever you speak about, if we accept the risk and we decide that, well, this is what we want to do, fine, the majority, that's the kind of democratic approach. The majority say, well, that's what we want to try. Here we go. Obviously, you have some controls in place and make sure that if it goes sideways, you catch it before it happens. And our role as influencer is to bring information about that, to be transparent about what we do, not to deceive. That's my thing. I mean, zero BS on posting. I tell people what it is, and I always invite people to do their search, because you should not follow one and just trust or blindly follow whatever the person says. We have a lot of bias. I have a bias. I don't like public cloud. I cannot trust it. I don't want to put my data in it. And if you listen to me, you're not going to use it. But for some purpose, if you want to provide an application and whatever, there are use for it. So it could be and could do good things. Just because you saw me speaking, then you're going to think twice about the security control. You're going to put great governance. You're going to protect your data. You're going to make sure you encrypt everything and this kind of stuff. So that's our role, to try to pull up the game to make sure that we're not doing stupid things. Because sadly, the more we offload the process to the machines, the less we master it, and the less we understand the risk in the outcome, in the process, in the implementations. So, and you see that. I mean, new generation, they don't want to know where's the rack, what's the server, how to rack it, where the data is physically stored. They don't care. And I mean, you don't want to build a machine to store your stuff. I do, but I'm an old guy, an old guy who rent. But the new one, they just want a Dropbox stuff or a Google Drive, or ideally Proton Mail or Proton Drive, because it's encrypted and private. I'm not plugging
Right.
I use it because I think that's a proper balance between convenience and privacy. But
I used it too, but I forgot my password.
yeah, I mean, you have to have a need. My need about that was because I used to run my own servers, my own email server at home. I had my MX, I was running my DNS and all that stuff. I had the whole family on it. But as I was getting older, I'm not that old. I'm like 46, but I said, like, if I have an accident or anything that happened, and I am the only one who knows how that works, they should be able to, still exist and use the tools. And what happened is, as I was saying, society is going more and more digital. Now, if you have any process, you need an email that works. You need to be able, anything that happens, So I just didn't want my wife or kids or parents to be stuck in a system that would go down, and they will not be able to do what they do, the administrative task, like send me an email and or access their own data. So this is why I made the family stuff on Proton Mail, so as it's not relying on my existence to exist, and it was like a proper balance between privacy, security, and the need to survive myself.
Right, and it's stored in Sweden or
Yeah, Switzerland. Yeah,
Switzerland. Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
the government can't go and subpoena that information and get it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Although I don't, it's just a principle, because I don't, hide anything wrong or whatever.
Right, we
and
don't
also,
have anything to hide. We just like being private. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't want attackers. I don't want bad guys to be able to frame me or frame the family. So that's why I want to keep it private. Because in regard to privacy, that's the fun part. I mean, I don't know about you, but I did work with some government entities, and I had to sign waivers for some clearance for some military work I did. I'm not a military, but I did collaborate with some military stuff. And basically, I had to go to the state police, like GRC in Canada, like gendarmerie, and give my footprint and grant them access to an information. They can track me, record anything I say, anything I do. And that's I signed a waiver for that, and this is live stuff. I cannot revoke. So technically,
you're giving away some privacy in order
correct.
to get the work, which is
Exactly.
reasonable.
Yeah.
You're making a
And
choice.
so that's why when I put my data and I fight for privacy, this is privacy for good. This is not privacy for evil. This is privacy against the bad guys. This is and that's where it's in. That's the middle ground that you have to deal with. But yeah, because you don't want to be tricked by someone taking the identity of someone you know and leading you to do something that you were tricked to do and you didn't want to, stuff like that. So that's the idea of the responsibility that we all have. And so we have to make choice, try to find a balance on that.
Right. Well, let's bring it home. Maybe one thing that we can tell our listeners that practical advice that they could do, and then just tell us where people can find you.
Yeah, so people can find me on LinkedIn, Alexandre Blanc Cyber, the guy that complained against the public cloud all the time. I have this cloud equal leak. It's like a warning, and as a general rule, if you put anything in the technology, in the digital format, eventually it will leak, it will be online because everything is connected together. So do it accordingly, assess the risk. Don't do stupid things. And you still can have fun, but know that fun could leak and get public. And these days with the bullying with schools, I am 2 teens at home, so I know the risk with your private data getting exploited and stuff like that. So yeah, be careful about that. Be mindful. Use critical thinking. Just wonder why you are asked the data. Do we really need to provide the data? If you don't need to, put fake data. Put fake data. We don't care, anything that it's not government related. Put fake stuff.
Right. Because you need to know your birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. Because and when you put fake stuff, you don't care because it cannot be used to steal your identity. So you basically lower the risk. You cannot do that everywhere, but it's a way to assess the risk. Be aware, understand, because we cannot escape it all, and enjoy the tech. But if you have an option, let's say, to not connect everything in your home because it's fancy or it's like the super trend to have everything connected, but you don't really need it, then don't. Because why putting the risk, Someone, if you have a connected doorbell and someone breached that stuff because it's not updated and get into your network and you have a NAS or a network connected and your passport is on it, they can put it out. So why are you risking it, So just as think anything you connect is growing your attack surface. How big is your attack surface? You probably never thought about that. But then you might want to disconnect all that useless old crap.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming and educating our audience. And we definitely have to do a round 2. That was really a great conversation. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.